So do you enjoy the content here on Thoughtful Faith? If so, be sure to hit the notification bell. This ensures that our new videos show up on your feed. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook group called Thoughtful Saints, where myself and others discuss the sorts of topics found on this channel. And lastly, if you think other people would benefit from this video, please be sure to share it. Hey guys, so before we get into today's video, I want to tell you about what may be the most interesting lecture series I have found about the evidence for the claims of the church. It's a channel on YouTube called LDS Truth Claims. Brett McDonald presents 32 lectures covering all of the positive evidence for the church, and also deals with essentially every major objection to the church's truth claims. Brett does this systematically with attorney-like rigor. I actually listened to his entire series over a couple of months while doing the dishes. It really helped me realize that saints often never consider how much positive evidence exists for our claims. I highly suggest this series to all Latter-day Saints. Just search for LDS Truth Claims on YouTube. So here's something that I, just from the very beginning, that I think may be at the root. So if we dig down a little deeper, is you and myself have very different moral frameworks.
Probably.
That we're bringing to the table here. Because you have very much sort of what I described as a moral libertarianism. I don't know if you'd use that term, but it's the idea that, look, whatever a person does is morally legitimate so long as it doesn't harm another person, right? And so that sort of, that is not the moral compass and standpoint of a Christian or a Latter-day Saint. And so if we're going to say, because really what we're having here is a moral conversation, like, is it right for a person to have a homosexual relationship? Is it right for people to be married when they're gay? Is it morally acceptable for teenagers that are gay to date? Is it morally acceptable for someone to have transgender surgery where they remove perfectly healthy breasts and a perfectly healthy penis, or have those, I would use the term mutilated and cut off. But the thing is that there's a difference in our moral perspectives. And one thing I'm curious about is, in what do you ground sort of when you say something is wrong, like on what grounds do you approach me and say, hey, that's wrong, and you're obligated to do otherwise?
Well, I don't know that I'm telling you that you're obligated to do anything, right? I can have a disagreement with
but isn't it implied when you come on and you say this is hurtful, this is problematic, this is that, you're implying that something is wrong with what I'm doing, and that you could just say, I prefer that you not do this and that you not make a video like this, but that's just, I'd say, well, yeah, I prefer green, you prefer blue. I don't have any obligation to prefer blue if I prefer green, but there's an implication that my behavior should be otherwise, that I have there's some rule that I'm violating that I am accountable to.
Well, I think I can express a disagreement with your position and try to explain, I see it differently, and this is how it could be problematic, and this is how it could be hurtful. At the end of the day, if that causes you to stop doing that thing, right,
mm-hmm.
then okay, great, that's wonderful. But if at the end of the day you still continue to do that thing, okay, that's your choice, right?
Yeah, it is my choice, but I guess my question is how do you determine what choice is the right choice and which choice is the wrong choice on a moral level?
Well,
yeah, and if it's all just a matter of personal preference, I prefer to, burn Jews, you prefer to live in love and harmony with everyone else. By what standard do we say that one of these ways of living is right and one of these ways of living is wrong?
Well, I mean, I know it's just a, an example that you're throwing out there, but I think we would all agree that burning Jews is harming somebody else, and it's wrong, right? And living in love and harmony with other people is not hurting anybody
See,
else.
what's interesting though is that I would say that that's a product of Christian socialization. Because if you go to, the Roman world, or to the Aztec world, or to the Viking world, or to the Mongol world, universal human kind of everyone live in love and harmony was not the highest ethic. The ethics were very much based on conquest and dominance, and our tribe is best, and if you're not us, then we'll enslave you. And that was just the way that people viewed the world. Now, so what I'm saying is that yes, today, in today's modern society, we have generally accepted norms of behavior. But if you lived in Nazi Germany in 1944, you might have been just fine with burning Jews, and not only that, everyone around you. So is our morality simply the product of what the majority feels at a given moment, just some and it's arbitrary?
No, and I don't think you'd ever. No, I don't think you'd ever hear me say that, because I can accept and appreciate that we have, as a society, and this can look different in different places, but as a society, that we've adopted certain sets of values and beliefs and the way we treat other people based off of faith traditions, spiritual belief systems, be it, Christianity, Judaism, whatever it may be, that those things have permeated collectively, our sort of collective society,
Yeah.
For the better, right? So no, I would never be one to say that this notion of right and wrong exists absent something informing that.
And I guess that's and I think, see, what's interesting, and I thought maybe our conversation would go here, because when you get down to it, if we're talking about something like what essentially the core difference I think that exists here between our points of view is that it's a question of morality. Is it moral for a person to engage in a homosexual relationship, right? In a sexual, and that I come from a perspective that says no, it's not, and I have to then provide a basis under which I say that it violates some sort of a moral standard that the person is obligated to follow, right? That you have an obligation to not engage in homosexual behavior. And then on the other side of this is the people say, no, it is perfectly morally acceptable for them to behave in such a way. And so at the root of it is this difference in, well, how do we determine what is and is not moral? And I think that, and so to dig deeper into that is kind of what I think I'd like to try and understand. And that is sort of by what standard are you using to judge if behavior X is moral or immoral? And or is it just arbitrary? And you're saying it's not arbitrary, and I agree 100%. But I guess my question is, but why isn't it arbitrary? Why isn't it just the social conventions of our time, and the social conventions of another time are just as equally valid as ours?